All right. Thank you so much, Curtis. Really appreciate the invitation. We're very honored to be here with you today. Thank you to you and your team for inviting us. Today we want to tell you a little bit about the Veteran Institute for Procurement and why it's important to you and your businesses. I'm going to sort of the plan for the day is for me to very briefly talk to you about the program, tell you what it's all about, and then more importantly, I think is to introduce a couple of veteran-owned small business owners who have gone through the program and what they thought of the program, because I can tell you all day about how wonderful it is, but I think if you hear it from folks who have actually gone through the program, it says a lot more. And then we want to then give you I'm gonna actually ask our panelists a few questions, and then we're gonna move on to questions from the audience because we want to hear from you as well. So let me go ahead and just for a few minutes tell you a little bit about VIP and what our program is all about. So next slide, please, Curtis. So a little bit about what VIP is really a training program for veteran-owned small businesses on really how to accelerate your success and growth in the federal contracting marketplace. So we really teach you about everything that it takes to run a successful government contracting business. And we train them, these companies, to become what we term procurement ready. What that means is that we train you to not only win government contracts, but also to perform at a high level. Curtis told you a little bit about my own personal background, that I was a small business director within government. And I worked very closely when I was in government with VIP because I knew that companies that had gone through the program were much better prepared to actually perform. And that's what's very important within government, especially when you're running a small business office. Well, for everyone really, but when you're running a small business office and you recommend the business to perform on a contract, you want them to do well because that kind of helps other small businesses that are coming in. So we really believe in this procurement ready thing. So VIP has been around since 2009. So in the last 15 years or so, we've trained about 2,500 companies from all 50 states, as you can see. And the training is for the founder, owner, or principal or C-level executives from these veteran-owned small businesses. And I think most importantly, it is provided at absolutely no cost to the businesses. All you have to do is get to us, and then we not only provide you the training, but we'll also feed you and provide lodging for the 3 days of the training. The training, as I said, it's 3 days, it's 27 hours. So basically they're very intensive trainings. We start 8 a.m., go till about 6:30 p.m. For the 3 days. And it's about everything it takes to run a successful government contracting business, from legal aspects to strategy to accounting. How do you respond to a cost proposal, business development, marketing, insurance, human resources, and a lot of success stories from successful graduates that have been through the program and have grown their businesses. So it's a lot of material, but certainly valuable. The training takes place at the Bulger Center, which is a facility about right outside of Washington, D.C., which has, it's almost like a mini college campus that you have, the lodging, and we feed you for the 3 days. Next slide, please. So let me tell you a little bit about the various curriculums within VIP. I see this as a busy slide, but it's really important because it shows you the 5 and now 6 curriculums that make up VIP. And you can see, I'll go through them very briefly. The first 3 here, Start, Grow, and Advance, are just really, depending on where you are in terms of your business, where you are in terms of the growth of your business. The ones that are closest to startups would take VIP Start. Okay, they're not really startups because there are some requirements, as you can see here, There are some eligibility requirements for each one of the programs. You see them there on the bottom of the slide. But for the starts, you have to be in business for a year. You know, the owner has to be dedicated full time to the business. You have to have some revenue. You have to be registered in sam.gov, and you have to have an active website. So there's some basic things that have to happen before you take even the most basic class, and that's VIP Start. And as you move to the right, Grow is more for companies that have been in business for a couple of years. You know, they have to be performing already on a federal contract as a prime or a subcontractor. And you can see there, you know, it's really the focus is really to increase the business's ability to win and maintain federal contracts. As you move to the right, VIP Advance is already for companies that are well advanced in government contracts. They have to have revenues of at least $10 million. Many of these companies are getting on the verge of becoming other than small, and that's in government speak. They don't say large business. It's other than small. So each one of these curriculums, as you can imagine, are very different. Okay, in the advanced class, it's, you know, it's a lot of talk about mergers and acquisitions and that kind of thing. It's really very, very different challenges that they face than the ones that are in Start or Grow. And then we have to the right the more I would say niche kind of curriculums with international for companies that are looking to expand and considering entering or expanding their business to overseas. They don't necessarily have to be already working overseas. They just want to, you know, considering it. You can see there the requirements for that. So we get a lot of, you know, companies that are interested in expanding to overseas. There's huge markets for products and or services overseas. And then there's aerospace, again, more of a niche industry, companies that are looking to expand in the federal aerospace market, and you can see the eligibility requirements there. And on the top is our newest curriculum, and that's the commercial one, which is brand new. Our first class, as you can see the dates there, it will be in October of this year, and very different from all of the other classes in that the focus is the commercial sector. So it's not government contracting. So it's a new venture that we are starting. So we're very excited about launching that later in the fall of this year. So next slide, please. So we like to say at VIP that we don't plant the seeds, we water the plants. So what does that mean? That means that we don't, as I mentioned before, we don't necessarily get startup companies. We already want them to have started the business and have, you know, have grown a little bit and have become a little bit knowledgeable about, you know, how to run their business and how to access the federal marketplace. But then, you know, what we are very proud of is that the training really is that we water the plants, we give them the knowledge that helps them to grow and succeed in the federal marketplace. So that's something that we're very proud of. So next slide, please. So this is really why we exist. So, you know, we know that the veterans and their families sacrifice so much to give our country the freedom that we experience daily. So, and for that reason, we know we work very, very hard to make sure that the programs are offered at no cost to the veteran. You know, VIP is a true public-private partnership. We are funded through the Small Business Administration through a grant, a competitive grant from the SBA. But we have gotten recognized as a SBA resource partner, and we've gotten recognized by the Congress. Last year we got an earmark, a congressional directed spending from the Senate Small Business Committee because they recognize how important the training is for veteran-owned small business. It's really the premier training that's out there for veteran businesses. So next slide, please. As I mentioned, we are an official SBA federal procurement training resource. So if you go onto the SBA website, you look under veteran-owned businesses, you'll see that we are the ones that are listed there as the premier training for veteran-owned small businesses. We work very closely with the Office of Veterans Affairs within SBA. As a matter of fact, we had a class last week for VIP Start that I led, and for our graduation ceremony, we had the assistant administrator from the Office of Veteran Business Development at the SBA. He came and gave some remarks at our class. So this is, again, a competitive grant that we won a couple of times, and so we are officially recognized by the SBA as their official training for veteran-owned small businesses, and we work very closely with the Veteran Business Opportunity Centers, the VBOCs, throughout the country. Next slide, please. We're very much about outcomes. We value the program, but really the proof is in the pudding, as they say. The veteran-owned businesses, I mentioned, all the ones that have gone through the program have won over $34 billion, that's with a B, in federal prime contracts awards since 2010. So that's a very impressive number. The instructors are all volunteers who are but industry experts. They're subject matter experts who are actively working in their specialized area of instruction. So that's very important for our attendees. I mentioned about the procurement ready aspects of it, and we really teach. The focus of the training is to mitigate risk, so that the businesses can learn how to identify obstacles, because running a business, and you'll hear from our experts or from our VIP graduates in a few minutes about some of the things that they've gone through in running their businesses. But we really try to teach them how to, mitigate risk in running their businesses. That's sort of the overall context of the training. Next slide, please. A couple of additional benefits that you get from participating in the program. It's not really just the instruction that you get, but it's also some additional opportunities that you get from attending the training. One is something called the VIP Marketplace, which is it's like a database of companies that have gone through the program. Once they graduate, they get to enter their information, their detailed information, they upload capability statements into this database that is used by several of the government agencies use it, as well as some private sector prime contractors, and the VIP graduates themselves use it to identify potential partners, or again, the agencies use it to search for qualified veteran-owned small businesses that can perform. So that's available to them. We also do numerous events with agencies where we provide matchmaking opportunities with the prime contractors and with government. Mentorship, the instructors that come in to do the training are available to help the businesses themselves. That's part of what when we ask them to be instructors, we ask them to be able to be accessible to the graduates so that they can give them additional instruction, additional guidance. The other part that's really important that the veterans, that when they go through the training, is the relationships that are established with their classmates. The networking, they always find very, very valuable, and the VIP alumni have established this network that they work together and partner up on opportunities to pursue government contracts. And so that's a real success of part of the program as well. Continuing education is something that we provide annually to all of the graduates on topics that are of interest to government contractors. We do these generally in January. These are webinars, and the VIP graduates can participate in these, and we provide them up, put them up on our website for continuing education. Next slide, please. So this is the schedule of upcoming classes. As you can see, we have a number of the start classes. That's the one that we get the most interest in because there's more businesses that are at that stage of their growth. So we're now offering 4 classes a year. And you can see we have all of the other curriculums are up. We just had a class of advance, so we are going to be announcing a new one next year. Those you can see most of the other curriculums other than START, we have it once a year. The starts we have more often because of the needs, but it's very easy to apply. If you go into the nationalvip.org website, it takes 5 minutes to apply, and all of the programs are on a first come, first served basis. So if you apply now, you will be put in the queue. I encourage you to apply. Again, it's a no-brainer in my view. Because if you're in, veteran-owned small business that's interested in doing work with the government, this is it's an opportunity that you should not miss. So next slide, please. We're getting close to the end of my remarks, and I'm going to hand it over, like I said, again, introduce you to our esteemed panelists. But these are some of I mentioned it's a public-private partnership. These are some of the partners that support VIP. I mentioned the SBA, the state of Maryland also provides funding, Lockheed Martin, as well as all of the companies that are here are donors to the company, to the organization. So we could not live without them. So we appreciate all of the support that we get from our partners. Next slide, please. I think that is the prepared remarks that I had. So now we get to the more interesting part of the presentation, and that's to hear from our VIP graduates. So let me introduce our panelists, and I'm going to ask them to just tell us a little bit about their background and their company to start out, and then I'll go into some questions. First, we have Dr. Fran Murphy, who is the president and CEO of Sigma Health Consulting. And Fran is a graduate of VIP Grow and Advance. And then after Fran, we're going to introduce Mr. Timothy Devine, who is president of Aviate Enterprises. And he has been through VIP Start, Grow, Advance, Aerospace, and International. So he's got experience with all of them. So let me start out with Fran and just have you say a little bit more, please, about your company and your experience with VIP.
Thanks, Mauricio, and good afternoon, everybody. It's a delight to be here with you today. I'm an Air Force veteran and a former VA physician. I worked for both VA and DoD in my long government career. And then when I decided to go to the private sector, started doing healthcare consulting, first as an independent consultant, and then starting my own small business. Sigma was started as just a one-person company, and now we have 100 employees. And we focus on management and advisory consulting, primarily in military and veterans affairs and in healthcare. We do just about any of the management and technical supports services in the healthcare sector. We've done some commercial work, but we prefer actually to work in the federal government and enjoy supporting making healthcare services available to the veteran community. So I'll stop there, and I'll tell you a little bit more later about my company growth and how it all occurred. So back to you, Mauricio. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Fran. Appreciate that. And thank you for joining us today. Tim, can you tell us a little bit about your company as well, please?
Welcome. Thank you, Mauricio, and thank you for the opportunity. Tim Devine, I'm at Aviate Enterprise out in Sacramento, California, also retired Air Force. So I started as a one-man band as well, literally 10 years ago, retiring in August of 2014. And my company is focused on material supplies. We provide a lot of the parts, pieces, and materials to the federal government they need to operate. And having gone through all of the VIP programs, it built the foundation. going from one employee myself to 38 and putting all the building blocks together. That's what VIP has allowed for me. So a lot more to share with the program, but VIP foundation and building blocks, I can't emphasize enough. So Maurice, hopefully you can facilitate some questions and share more experiences.
Absolutely. Thank you, Tim, and thanks again for taking the time to join us today. So let me start with a few questions. And I'll start out with Fran, but maybe for both of you. Just so reflecting on your experience with VIP, what key aspects of the program stood out for you? Fran?
So I started with Grow. At that point, I already had several federal contracts in place, and we were starting to be awarded larger and larger federal contracts. And I felt I needed a better handle on the kinds of infrastructure that I would need to run a veteran-owned and woman-owned small business. And so I signed up for Grow. And what I love about the programs is that, as Mauricio told you, you can find a program that is focused on you and your needs at every stage of your company growth. So I started in Grow and went to Advance, but one of the important aspects that I find about the VIP programs is that they not only give you didactic lectures where you can learn about new skills and tools, but there's also incorporation in the curriculum of some educational opportunities that allow an interactive type of training, and you break down into small groups and learn to do things like give a verbal presentation for a contract proposal to the federal government. I find that mix of training types in the curriculum to be very, very important and a great adult learning tool. So that's what I'd offer as something that I found important about the training.
Thank you, Fran. Tim, what about yourself? What aspects of the program stood out for you?
Coming from the military, I never thought about money. Being a commander in the military, you went to finance, you got the funds. You had the JAG to support and back you up. Starting a company is understanding the building blocks and understanding that if you're going to work in federal government contracting, you need money, you need banking, you need finance, you need the foundation to have successful business. Because when I started my company in Sacramento, California, I was focused on state contracts, small contracts, 5,000, 10,000. And even then, starting a company, it's all about the cash flow. Moving into the VIP program would help me with a much better understanding to move into the federal government space, because federal government contracting is far more complex, and understanding what's required from a financial standpoint and financial backing. You have to have the finances in place to grow. You need to have the right accounting system in place to be able to grow. And you need to have the right resource from a legal standpoint and insurance. And if you're going to start a business and you're going to work on a larger scale outside of your small city or state on the national level or even international, you need to have the understanding of what's required. The VIP program provided those key capabilities because federal government contracts mainly in the beltway of Washington, D.C. And when you're outside that beltway, understanding what you have to do when you're located 300, 500, or 1,000 miles away or the other side of the country. So in building a company is understanding what you need to be successful. And that's really what VIP started me with and allowed me to continue to do the classes, which has allowed me to grow from 1 employee to 38 employees and much larger contracts, and being on the verge of growing from that small to that mid-sized company now. A lot of change, but VIP provides the foundations.
Wonderful. No, that's excellent. Thanks for that, Tim. So for both of you, was there a specific aha moment that you remember from your time during the classes? Let's start out with Tim this time.
I do. It was my second night of the class, and what Mauricio said is they're long classes and they're good classes, an opportunity to network and meet other people and meet the other business professionals that are coming in. the federal government wants to do business with small businesses, but they want us to be procurement ready. When the SBA was standing there, one of the directors from Washington, D.C., a DOD director focused on small business, and Lockheed Martin, and they all stood out during the social hours. They introduced themselves with their keywords. We want to do business with you, but you need to be financially ready. And there was a student that spoke up who just secured a contract for a small amount, like $3 million. And to grow into the federal space, the contract dollars get large fast. And recognizing, whoa, this is real. And there are people from the federal government here and private industry, and they want to do business with small business. But you got to have the foundation ready. And that was at the start class. And I realized it's all about the foundation and having a solid foundation. It's like, I've got to keep going and apply these principles. And applying those principles allowed me to be successful. I can't emphasize that. It's the building blocks and applying the principles. And that was my aha moment.
Excellent. Thank you for that. Yeah, and I will say that in terms of the instructors you mentioned about the SBA being there, and the instructors are really experts from government and industry. So we try to bring and we try to keep the content always fresh. We debrief internally after every single class. We do a heavy debrief. We survey from the participants. We survey them repeatedly to get input from them about what they liked, what they didn't like, what was valuable, and then we survey them not just right after the class, but a year later to see and then 2 years later to see how their company growth has changed. And anyway, we tweak the curriculums all the time, the classes and the instructors, just to make sure that we're keeping it fresh, and we include experts from government and industry. So thank you for bringing that up. Fran, what about yourself? Any aha moment that you remember?
I'll play off something that has already been discussed, but give you a little bit different perspective. First of all, I agree with Mauricio. You couldn't find a better faculty than has been put together for VIP. I've been to a lot of management education, and the VIP faculty is second to none. The other thing that was an aha moment for me was that it's not only important to understand all the various aspects of small business infrastructure, the finance, the HR, the insurance, all the government regulations at the state and federal level that you have to comply with, but you need to have advisors who are not only experts in those topic areas, but who are also experts in federal government consulting. It is a different world to be a government consultant, and you have to have lawyers and insurance agents and bankers who actually understand your business needs and can address the specific problems with the expertise that they bring to the table. Otherwise, you can waste a lot of time and money on advisors who really can't help you build your business. And I still use a law firm that I met through VIP, and they have served me well, and I continue to recommend them to others. So those contacts are really, really important, and you'll get to know some of the ins and outs of the kinds of infrastructure and demands that your small business will need in order to grow.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Fran. Okay, next question, and we'll start with you this time, Fran. Looking back, what one thing did you learn later that you wish you had known sooner?
There are a lot of lessons learned along the way, and I think each stage of growth gives me a slightly different perspective. But one of the lessons learned for me was that in building your business, you don't always have to have a full-time person on staff to meet the kinds of needs you have at any particular stage. So I'll give you an example. When we were smaller, I had a full-time CFO who was also doing government consulting in addition to being our company CFO. And he decided that he wanted to move to a new startup company that had a new piece of software that he felt was going to make $1 billion. And
Uh-oh, I think Fran froze on us.
Freeze that.
Yep. Maybe we'll.
at our size, an
she's fine.
outsourced CFO would meet the needs. And now we have
Fran, I think we're having some technical difficulties. We're not, Tim, you're not hearing her either, right?
I'm not hearing her. She's fading in and out.
Yeah. So maybe you can keep your camera off, maybe, and that might work. Fran,
I thought she might have lost video connection.
yeah. Well, all right. Let's go to Tim. Let's go to you then. What one thing did you learn later that you wish you had known much sooner?
IT. We are only as good as the IT system backing us up. And legitimately, last night, my company went down 20 minutes before the end of the business day because our internet went out. Fiber was cut outside our door, not outside physically, about 100 miles up the road. But when that fiber was cut, it affected thousands of businesses across the West Coast. So as I look back at our business, the one thing I wish I would have learned sooner is the foundation you can build is IT. When communication stops, the business stops. Having the redundancy, as Fran is experiencing right now, no fault of hers, I suspect, it's the technology that we put in place. It's critical to our success, and it costs money. To have the plan in place to be CMMC compliant, it costs money. When we're dealing with the federal government to communicate timely and respond back on preparing that foundation and understanding what's needed to be successful. Because if you don't have reliability and a failover mechanism when something goes wrong, what are you going to do when the government can't contact you? I have an IT staff and we have a failover plan. We were going to activate it this morning. So the big thing for me is I wish I learned sooner is how critical that is to our success. Because if you can't communicate, then you're out. And that's a cost. In preparing for that cost and not being thrifty. That was my mistake. I was thrifty at first, and when I was thrifty at first, it came back to bite me. So don't go too low on the budget when it comes to your IT infrastructure. It's critical to your success. I wish I would have learned that sooner because it cost me money that I lost because I didn't do it right.
Yeah, no, those are great points. And I think, you know, with the VIP, we do a session in almost all the classes about cyber and CMMC, and we are now dipping our toes in AI a little bit gently because that seems to be changing so quickly. But we're trying to add that. We're trying to find, you know, how to add that to our curriculum. So we're exploring that as we speak.
I remember from the VIP Grow having the instructor that came in and spoke about IT infrastructure. And if I just would have had that a little bit sooner, it would have saved a lot of money. So just one of the things I wish I would have learned sooner, VIP solidified that and helped set me on a much better foundation in future.
Excellent, excellent. I'm going to ask one other question, and then I'm going to see if there's some questions from the audience, and maybe ask Curtis to help me with that because I know we have quite a number of participants, so I want to make sure we try to get to all those questions. But one last question for you all. Can you talk a little bit about partnering with other firms, whether small or large, and did your VIP experience help with partnering? Let's go with Tim first.
Absolutely helping with partnering. I work with Textron Corporation. The state of California is a very difficult customer to work with, so we actually provide aircraft to the state of California with Textron. So I partner with Textron to be that small business facilitator to get the aircraft from Textron, do the integration of the avionics packages and other materials, and deliver them to the state. Small businesses are more agile than large businesses. If you look at some of the large corporations, think of them as strong, big battleships. But a big, strong battleship can't turn on a dime as fast as a small business. So partnering with a small business, even the team of 38 versus the company that has 5,000, It's been very beneficial. And creating those relationships, reaching out to those primes and working with those primes contracts, it allows the small business to do what the large business cannot do as easily. So partnering has been a very successful part of my business with the larger corporations, and then even working with other small businesses to take on a project. Fran talked about the HR component of it. We have a large project we're doing with the state of California. I'm not an expert in HR, but in the materials I am. So I'm partnering with another small business. So together we can win that very large contract. To grow your business, you're not an expert in everything. And when you're not an expert in everything, it's, as Fran had referenced, having the experts to reach out to. To grow your business, you have to partner sometimes. And partnering is very important. And I can't emphasize enough because I am not an expert in accounting. I am not an expert in HR, but on larger contracts, you need to bring those experts in. And other veterans make good business partners.
Absolutely. No, that's excellent advice there. Partnering is very important when you're getting in government contracting. Absolutely. Fran, I think you're back. Hopefully we can.
I am. I apologize. My internet went out for a couple of seconds, but I hope I got back in good time.
I think you're good.
So, you know, we do a lot of prime contract work and use both large and small businesses as subcontractors. As you've heard, it's important to have the right skill set to bring to the table, and also the right relationships with the customers that you're proposing to bid on a government contract. So you need to choose your team carefully to bring the right expertise, the right past performance, and the right client relationships to every bid that you want to make. We also do subcontracting with large businesses because we have some very unique skills that we can bring to the table in healthcare consulting, and they value what we bring to the table. The other thing is a small business, you usually have less overhead, and so you can be more cost competitive than some of the large businesses that work in the federal government contracting area. And so don't be afraid to subcontract. It's a great way to get started and to make the kinds of contacts that you need and to get the past performance that can allow you to build towards a prime contract. The other thing I'd say is that write your subcontracts with large businesses very carefully. And make sure that in the contract there's language that says that you will get the work share that you have been promised, and that you hold them to that, because we've had the experience that sometimes there are large businesses who will want to put you on their bid proposal because they need to have a certain percentage of the work share go to small businesses. But then when it comes to actually executing on the work, they back away from giving you that work share. So get it in writing. And, you know, whether you're a prime or a subcontractor, make sure that you understand your customers' needs and that you're delivering excellence. One of the things that was valuable from VIP, the 2 VIP courses that I went to, and remains valuable today, is the network of other veteran-owned small businesses that I met. I've continued to reach out to partner with them, and likewise they reach out to us when we have the skills and the expertise to support their contract bids. So, you know, VIP can help you in that way also, not only with the knowledge and the tools, but also with a network of potential partners. Mauricio, back to you.
Yes, no, thank you, Fran. That's excellent advice, and certainly something that we go into in the trainings about the agreement with your prime contractors and the work share aspects of it, and you know, we just talked about that last week in the class. We went into that extensively because that certainly is a concern for the small businesses. Make sure they get what they're promised at the time that they're competing, if their past performance and is used in winning the award, that's incumbent upon the large prime to give back to to say what they did to comply with what they said they were going to do in advance. Let me move on to questions from the audience, and I'm going to ask Curtis the best way to handle this. Should I go into the chat and answer those myself, or is there a way that you can help with this?
I got you.
Okay, excellent.
Cool. First question is this the only available to veteran-owned small businesses? We are a woman-owned, but not veteran-owned.
I'll take that one. Unfortunately, yes, that is this. You have to be a veteran-owned small business. It has to be owned by a veteran in order to participate in VIP. That's the way our funding works for now, at least.
Gotcha. Thank you, Mauricio.
Sure.
I am a veteran, a USMC, and struggling to provide all of the information that SBA required to certify my company. I also know a number of other veterans struggling with the same thing. Are we able to participate in these programs?
If they are going through the certification process, I want to make sure I understand this. So they have not been certified yet as a veteran-owned small business.
Correct. They're saying that they are having a hard time with certification and providing everything the SBA requires. So they was wondering, would they still be able to participate in the program, even though they was struggling to get that certification right at this time?
Yeah, they do need to be certified. They have to go through the certification process. Well, let me say this. I don't know what the issue is. It really depends on, if they're a veteran-owned small business and they are, they meet all the other requirements. If they're in the process of getting the certification but haven't quite gotten it yet, then they would be eligible, because many of the time, when we go through especially our VIP start classes, they will be going through the process, but haven't quite received it yet. They're in the process of getting it, and they're qualified in all the other, again, the requirements that I showed previously. Then they would be eligible. Yes.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
Sure.
Next question. What guidance and support does the VIP program provide for veterans in between start and growth? 15 years in the commercial side, but trying to get traction to take hold.
Well, I'd say that the requirements between start and grow are not that different if you look at them. I think the requirements for start is one full-time dedicated employee, and for grow it's 3. So there really isn't anything in between other than the ones that I mentioned, which are more the sort of the market-driven or niche curriculums, like aerospace or like international or commercial. So yeah, again, Tim's experience is not unique. I think maybe it's unique in that he's gone through every single one. What I will say is that there's many companies who go through multiple ones and find value in attending more than one, because the curriculums are very different. And Tim, maybe you can speak to that as well.
As going through all the different programs, because I'm servicing the State Department, the Department of Defense, Department of Veterans Affairs, and to work in my industry of material support for the government, the different foundational requirements, because when you're dealing internationally, what do I have to deal with for export control? When I'm dealing with aerospace and aerospace parts and pieces, how do I deal with that with the federal government and compliance? And then from looking back at the grow, what do I need financially? So to be able to work in different arenas, having all the courses for my specific area allowed me to prosper and grow, because that was the direction for my company where I want to be. So it's not just a one and done. It's ongoing education. And as Fran said, the relationships that are created with other VIP graduates and the business connections with people that are presenters to follow up. It's not just the curriculum activity, it's the relationships that are made with fellow classmates as well as alum that when you're dealing with it, you can see on some of them, hey, they're a VIP graduate. It's lets you know that they've gone through and achieved the success and the foundational knowledge to be practicing in the government arena. So that's why I think it's beneficial. So kind of in a nutshell, I think Fran might have even more to add, probably.
Yeah, I'd like to add and actually extend something that you said. So the contacts that you make at START are important to you because there are panels of other veteran-owned businesses and other business owners who you can reach out to as a mentor. So if you have specific questions or need help with a specific issue, usually the volunteer faculty and the other veteran-owned businesses that speak at these courses are more than happy to offer you some of their time and expertise in a mentorship role. So that's one of the resources that may be available to you between START and GROW also.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. Thank you both for that. Back to you,
Thank
Curtis.
you. Absolutely. Can we apply in advance of hitting the 1 year mark if the class will start with 1 year in business?
Yes, you can apply beforehand because there is a waiting list. So if by the time that the class actually happens, then if you're eligible at that time, yes, we will accept you.
Awesome. Thank you. Can we participate in every VIP program we qualify for from start to finish?
Yes, you can, and you have an example of someone who did it. That's understand. Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Thank you. Will CMMC training program be included in the VIP program?
Yes, it is. As I mentioned, we do have a session on cybersecurity, which includes a session on CMMC and all the various requirements under CMMC. So that's included in our curriculums.
Thank you. What guidance support does the VIP program provide for veterans in between start and growth? Well, we answered that earlier. They sent
Yes.
it again.
Yep. Yes, for that.
I've recently received my certification. I would like to help with applying for contracts. Where do you suggest I start besides sam.gov? I find this website to be confusing.
You're not alone. I would say come to the training. We go into a great deal into business development, marketing. How do you identify opportunities? We do a session that's several hours on all of the, how do you capture work? Maybe I'll ask Tim or Fran to comment on that as well.
Yeah, so I have specified searches that will alert me when something comes into sam.gov that I might be interested in. And we have a staff member who also monitors those sites. One of the important things is to take advantage of some of the sessions that are done by the OSDBU organizations within each government agency that you're interested in working with, because they will give you specific information about how to access small business opportunities in their agency. So make sure you attend those sessions, get to know the OSDBU representatives, and track each agency's upcoming requests for information and contract solicitations. That's an important way to find new contract opportunities also. There are some paid services that you can sign up for that will post notices about requests for information, so sources sought for upcoming contract and opportunities. but you know, that takes some resources. The other SAM.gov and the OSDBU trainings are free.
Yep. Absolutely.
One of the things that VIP does is it introduces you and helps open doors to other agencies, and VIP is awesome. But there's also something called the VBOX, Veterans Business Outreach Centers, that will help you identify contract opportunities. And then called the PTAC, now called, I want to say it's the APEX, that's Procurement Technical Assistance Center, and now the APEX, a little bit different name, but the same focus, where they help you find government contracts. And if you're going to be in government contracting, the question that needs to be answered is, what is the value proposition that you bring forth to the table that the government needs? A target agency. What is your unique skill set? What is your unique business that is needed by that agency? Be it if it's the Department of Justice, Department of Defense, Department of Affairs. What can you bring to them? And then identifying those opportunities and tapping into the resources of the OSDBU, Office of Small Business Development, for all the agencies to help guide you, and staying local. I'm in Sacramento, California. When I started in my local community, working with the VAs in Northern California before I went national. So if you want to find local opportunities, stay local and use the local business resources from your local SBA office too. And that helped me grow. And I think that's a resource for all veteran businesses out there. And VIP made the introductions to a lot of those agencies.
Yeah. No, that's excellent, Tim. Thank you. Yeah, we actually do VIP. When you graduate from VIP Start, we introduce you to your local VBOC directors. That's part of the, every class. Many of them already are working with them, but in case you're not, we introduce them. When you go through VIP International, we introduce you to, we have a partnership with the Department of Commerce, with the U.S. Commercial Service. And we introduced them to their local, they call UZX, which is the U.S. Export Assistance Centers. So for those of you that are exporters, so we not only, again, we like to joke that, it's like the Hotel California when you're a VIP. You can check out anytime you want, but you can never leave, because we continue to give you additional resources, additional information, and additional things that are going to help you grow your business. So back to you, Curtis. Other questions?
Thank you. Yeah, we got a couple of more. And like Mr. Tim stated, the Apex accelerators are great. You got your VBOX. You can look at your score mentors as well. So take advantage of some of those resources, and as Fran stated, the local OSDBUs who you want to work with as well. We're here putting on this wonderful training with VIP, so we're here to bring you that and advocate for you small businesses out there. So we're here for you. The courses in person or on Zoom, Mauricio?
They're all in person. We went on Zoom during the pandemic. And we continued to train, but what we wanted to get back to in person as quickly as possible, because that's when the real networking happens, is when they're all in person. I did mention that we do the continuing education, which is virtual. Those are topics of interest to government contractors that we do in around January of each year, but the classes, all of the curriculums that I mentioned, they're all in person.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have a forecasted timeline for processing pending applications for VIP Start?
As I mentioned, there is a long waiting list, and we are trying to shorten the time that it takes from when you apply. We've gotten some additional funding from the SBA, I'm told we're increasing the number of classes by about 40% for VIP Start. So we're hoping to reduce the time that it takes. It takes several months if you apply now. It's going to take a little while to get into the class. But again, it's first come, first serve. So if you're interested and eligible, I would absolutely apply as soon as possible. I've noticed, by the way, because we get a notice every time an application comes in, and since we started this webinar, quite a few applications have come in. So there's some interest out there, and not just Start applications, by the way, it's several of the other curriculums. So this is great, wonderful.
Like if you're on the
Absolutely.
waiting list, it's worth the wait, guys. Don't get discouraged. I'm been in business 10 years. I didn't get to all the VIP classes immediately. The VIP program is a slow program for growth. Take your time and wait and be patient too. I can't emphasize that enough.
Yes,
All
thank
about
you.
lifelong learning.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Thank you, guys.
I got
Curtis, we have
more-
time for.
I got a few more, but
Okay.
we'll get into all the questions. Like I said, we'll make sure we get back to you so we can answer them. The next one is, when is the next Grow Conference training and where will it be located? Do we need to register at the National VIP website?
I showed you on the slide, I believe the next grow class, if I'm not mistaken, is December or January coming up, and it is so I would apply. It's not, I don't believe that one is full, so yet, at least not yet. But yeah, I would encourage you to apply for that. Like I said, first come, first serve. So.
Thank you. I said, we are at SDVOSB pre-revenue. Does this exclude us?
I'm sorry, I didn't quite get that. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, they just said we are at SDVOSB pre-revenue. Does this exclude us?
Oh, that they don't have any revenue. Uh, I'm assuming that means that they have no revenue. Um, you know, it does. Again, it does exclude you if by the time that the class comes that you have no revenue. So I would, continue to work to get some revenue into the business, and then apply, encourage you to apply, because if you apply and you're not accepted, that's okay. It's not like you can't apply again, so I would, and there is like we said, there's a waiting list. So by the time that the class, we go through an extensive vetting process for each application, and we check back in with you. If you're not eligible, we're going to tell you, well, you're not eligible because of this, this, and this, and you can come back to us and say, well, now I have revenue, and we'll put you back into the list. So, um, so Curtis, I see we're at time.
Mhm.
So I want to be respectful of our guests' time, and so maybe if there's any parting thoughts that Tim or Fran have, please, this is your opportunity.
Yes, so please take advantage of the VIP training that is available. It is unique to veteran-owned small businesses. It's free to all, and it's invaluable to help you continue to grow your business and to develop into an outstanding federal government contract.
Excellent.
It will
Thank you,
serve you
Fran. I
well.
don't know if we lost you or I think we lost you. So, but thank you for participating, Fran. Really appreciate your support. Tim?
One of the things from government contracting in the VIP class that was said early on, if government contracting was easy, everyone would do it. Tenacity. You have to have tenacity to start and to grow and to move forward in government contracting, and understanding the foundation and understanding the principles in the foundation. So as you're starting out with the VIP program, that waiting list is long. Be patient, it will come. But having tenacity, and it's government contract's not easy. You got to take the time and build the foundation. So for the VIP list, I know there's many applicants that want to go. Be patient and persistent, and your opportunity will come with the VIP program, but take advantage of it. It's an exceptional program to allow you to better start your company and then service and support the federal government contracts.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Tim. Thank you, Fran. Really appreciate your time. Curtis, I can't say enough, but thank you for hosting this. We really appreciate the VA and your support. And we look forward to meeting many of these attendees in our upcoming classes and helping you and watching you grow and succeed in government contracting. Curtis, back to you.
Thank
luck,
you,
everybody.
everybody. Thank you, Mauricio. Thank you, Fran. Thank you, Tim. I really appreciate it. I know the participants appreciate it as well. I can tell by all the good kudos and stuff I'm seeing in the chat. At the end of this webinar, you will find a survey. Please let us know how we did today. If you have any questions or, if we didn't get to your questions today, trust me, we'll get back to you. I will send these over to Mauricio, and we look forward to seeing you again. Until next time, everybody stay safe, stay cool, definitely. And I hope everybody have a wonderful day. Talk to you soon. All right now.
Thank you so much. Take care. Have a great day.
Bye-bye. Good luck.
Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye.